You're watching World Insight with me, Tian Wei. Still to come on our program. About China's market economy status, we ask a former member of the WTO appellate body to weigh in. She is Zhang Yuejiao, the first woman appointed to the bench. The full interview right after this break. Should China still be viewed as a non-market economy or recognized officially as a market economy? The debate remains. This past year, U.S. President Donald Trump has vetoed the appointment of judges to an appeals body, further alienating the United States with the international governance mechanism. Will Beijing take on more responsibility? Nobody could answer it better than Zhang Yuejiao, the former member of the WTO appellate body, the first female judge from China ever to serve in that role, which is, according to the WTO official description, best performed by a person recognized worldwide with demonstrated expertise and should be broadly representative of the membership of the WTO. In an exclusive interview with me, Madam Zhang expressed her views directly as a respected legal expert. Then is there a specific definition of market economy according to WTO rules and regulations?
No, WTO has no such definition with regard to market economy or non-market economy. Only in one footnote of the anti-dumping agreement, for the calculation purposes of normal meaning, so they said all prices or almost all prices are fixed by the state. It's deemed as non-market economy to use third country or surrogate countries' prices. That's only for calculation of normal meaning of anti-dumping investigation.
So now at this moment, according to China, the United States, and the EU, they all have different interpretations of what the market economy status is. What would that mean for this debate, as a result, legally speaking?
As you know, the current multilateral trade negotiations has some difficulties to conclude the Doha round and to pursue new topics. However, the dispute settlement is going on well.
How does that work among members? How long would it take for members to reach any conclusion or consensus?
First, consultation. If one party has requested for consultation and the other party will give a favorable consideration, sympathetic consideration, means they will make a consultation together. If in 60 days they cannot reach an agreement, the consultation fails, then one party may request for the establishment of a panel. The panel is the first stage of the formal proceedings. Then it will take about 9 months to 1 year. Sometimes, if the case is very difficult, very complicated, it may take longer, such as the large civil aircrafts.
As a former member of the appellate body judge, what do you make of the challenges of such case?
It's quite clear in terms of legal term, because Article 3.2 of the DSU asks us to clarify the covered
dispute settlement
understanding as our procedure. If we are obliged to clarify the covered agreement in accordance with customary rules for the interpretation of public international law. Generally speaking, we refer to the Vienna Convention for the law of treaty. Based on Vienna Convention, we have to look at the object, purpose, text or context, and the normal meaning of the provision.
I see.
So Article 15 on the face of the document is clear.
Whether it is dispute settlement procedures or eventually going to the appellate body for the final judge, it takes time. It takes probably 1 or at least 2 years, and that means a lot when it comes to real benefits of countries and parties involved.
Overall, if compared to other international dispute settlement system, I would say that WTO is doing okay.
Really? I mean,
yeah,
look at
because the average of closing a case is about 2 to 3 years. But if you look at some other system, it may take 3 to 4 or to 5 years. So it's really depends on the complexity of the case, and it depends also on the availability of resources.
Is this platform still going to be viable? How viable will it be? I was talking earlier to Pascal Lamy, the former Director General of WTO. He was saying he loves the Chinese idiom, which is called, whether it's black cat or white cat, as long as it catches the mouse, it's a good cat. But the thing is, what if other good cats all emerged? Will WTO still be the best cat?
I agree with Lamy on that.
You all love cats.
Don't forget, we all pro multilateralism. Really, globalization has brought many benefits to enhance the standard of living in general.
But some would say, some of the, China has benefited the biggest, the most from the WTO. Is that true?
Oh, first, I don't want to take a position to defend any party, but I have learned through the newspapers, China has also made a great sacrifice. For instance, to reduce the overcapacity of mining of coal or steel mill.
Yeah.
So they have laid off many workers. They have to find new jobs for those workers.
Yes,
so this is a burden. But they are doing well, particularly some provinces, quite impressive. My view is, as the current DG mentioned, that in the United States, according to their studies, that it's not the globalization took out their jobs, but rather the technology. So they have to see to find the real problems.
And to see where the engine of the growth should be.
Yes. And the trade works.
Are you
the anti-trade is not good, particularly to reduce poverty. For all multilateral financial development institutions, I have been to the World Bank, to the Asian Development Bank, to the Western African Development Bank. I saw so many poor people and the low-level developed countries. So they need aid for trade. They need international cooperation. So once they join the international cooperation, they can improve their standard of living.
Before serving on the WTO appellate body, Zhang Yuejiao already possessed a highly impressive track record. She was one of China's chief negotiators on the intellectual property and was involved in the preparation of China's patent law, trademark law, and copyright law. She also served as chief counsel for China's GATT resumption and WTO accession. In other words, she was almost involved in all the most important legal work regarding China and the world. As one who lived and played a key role in all these unprecedented legal processes, Zhang told me she had a lot of pressure, but certainly had enjoyed all the work in retrospect.
I was among the first generation to go selected among the outstanding high school graduates to go to France immediately after establishment of diplomatic relations.
Wow, that must be a very impressive trip.
Yeah. I was very fortunate in 1964.
Wow, what did you see there?
Yes.
What was the takeaway of that trip for you as a young lady coming from China?
Yes, it was pressure on me because I have to think. I had hope sick. I thought my parents they were still in a very difficult working condition. And also those farmers, workers, so their salary very, very low. But our spending in France equivalent to their 1 year earning. So that's why I had tremendous pressure on me, so study very, very hard. In the late night, when there's no light, so I just use my hand light to read the books. So I said that time is so precious. I have to learn as many as possible, as much as possible. So that's why.
Did you interact with the French then at the time?
Yes.
Did you have the freedom to interact with them?
Yes. Well, even we had opportunities to organize Christmas parties together and to have weekly or monthly meetings together.
Just think about that. How much a window would they open for a young lady like you from China, decades back?
Yes, I admire at the time that our Premier Zhou Enlai and Deng Xiaoping, they also went to France. So we visited their manufacturers that they have to work
as a hard labor.
Hard labor.
Yeah, when they were very young, they went to also
we
France.
Were very fortunate than them. So that's encouragement for us.
Yeah.
I still believe that I should learn as much as possible to have a solid knowledge to serve my country.
Madam Zhang, you were also participating in China's resumption negotiations into the GATT and then later WTO. You were also a key member in the negotiations between China and the United States, China and the EU in terms of intellectual property rights. Those are hard negotiations. I mean, you were the one of the key members studying all the details. Were you having difficulty sleeping at night because there could be a loophole in the scripts that you read through, and yet you said yes, but eventually it could be a problem?
At the time, really, I had a very difficult, challenging job because, we had a new staff, new team, and we have to coordinate different agencies, patents, trademarks, copyrights, and different industries.
And they are new as well.
Yes, so a lot of coordination work as well. Sometimes the negotiations went very difficult, very late. I think I spent almost 1 week in the office. At the time, the office facilities were not as sophisticated, as comfort as today. So only cold water and a wood chair. So, but only slept 2 hours or maximum 3 hours.
On the wooden chair,
yes,
every night?
Yes.
For a whole week?
Yes. So I don't feel bad about that. Rather, it's a good memory for me because I've learned a lot. Because I feel confident that I contribute not only to the ministry that they have assigned me for such important responsibility, to also contribute to the intellectual property legal system establishment. I'm very happy that China's now current rule of law system developed so fast.
Final question for you, Madam Zhang. As a legal expert, if politicians around the world, presidents and premiers around the world having a meeting, and they want you to give a speech, what would you suggest to these people?
I have no ambition.
As a retired appellate body judge of the WTO, what would you say?
As a leader of a country, they have to follow the United Nations Charter for peace and development. It's crucial to enhance the standard of living of all people, and also to promote and improve the rule-based multilateral trading system is important.
But what about national interests? They were elected by their own constituencies.
That's the strength of the WTO system, because it's a one single undertaking. It's a mandatory. You agree with the rules, you accept, you join, you take it or you leave it. So there's no grandfather provisions, there's no exceptions, except that those general exceptions. I think that is very, very important. If all countries, they follow the same rules to do international trade, enhance the transparency and the predictability. It's good for companies, it's good for governments. I would say that trade works. Trade is the engine for development. Nobody can deny.
That's our exclusive interview with Zhang Yuejiao, a former member of the WTO appellate body and also the first Chinese female judge ever served on that bench.